What's up, everybody? Welcome to Arkham Comics Presents Aaron Reviews Comics, the show that everybody's always talking about. By everybody, I mean me. By always, I mean Tuesdays and Wednesdays mostly. Anyway, today we're going to be looking at Venom Inc. Alpha, Action Comics number 993, and what I'm lovingly referring to as the Phoenix True Believer set. Let's get to it. In Venom Inc. Alpha, our story begins in Philly with Mania in full symbiote attire, hunting down some baddies. She's on the phone with Flash, who's in New York, still attempting to try to find his own symbiote. We quickly learn that someone is out to capture those symbiotes, not seemingly for research, but for gains of their own. Flash contacts Spidey in desperation, but as he is wrapped up with Black Cat in a classic museum heist, he ends up meeting with Peter Parker later on. Oh, I should mention, Peter's lost his company, he's broke, crashing on his girlfriend's couch, and he's working again at the Daily Bugle. If you haven't been keeping up with Venom's solo story, Eddie Brock is back with the symbiote, but the symbiote's losing his mind. Eddie is trying to be the good guy, well, a vigilante at least, but the symbiote is increasingly unpredictable. We see that here in the story as Eddie and Venom argue over killing a low-life thug. Eddie then heads to Liz's lab to retrieve the medicine that's supposed to help Venom, while at the same time Flash is getting thrown out of that building. As Brock and Flash square off, the symbiote's torn between the two hosts. Spider-Man does the only thing he knows to do, and a massive change takes place. I won't spoil it for you. Also, the story ends with a full circle twist that sets up for what is sure to be an insane sequel. Look, pick this book up. If you have not been reading any Venom stories lately, then you're missing out. Go pick all of them up. Seriously, they're a lot of fun. The art in this story is beautiful, and the full 2-page spread of Venom torn between Flash and Eddie, that needs to be a poster. Action Comics number 993, Booster Shot Part 1. If you're reading DC right now, you might understand that time is being a bit played with. Well, one of the points that's being messed with is the destruction of Krypton. Booster Gold is in a rush to stop Superman from going back in time and saving his home planet, but he just missed him. Superman already used Flash's treadmill to launch himself into the past. He's seeking an answer concerning his father. It was one of those moments where if you haven't been reading Action Comics, then you're gotta be like, what? So Superman is on Krypton, moments before its explosion, and immediately is torn into a cosmic storm that gives him visions of his past. Things he remembers, some things he doesn't even recognize. Once that fog is lifted, he realizes that he's still on Krypton, but everything seems fine. He's unaware of when he is. Back at the Justice League Watchtower, Booster Gold is in a fight with the Flash, who's afraid that anyone else is going to use the treadmill. After turning the tower's defenses on Flash, Booster sets off to find Superman, first posting on all social media that he is off to save Superman. He's tired of the ridicule for being a superhero that no one knows. Meanwhile, little Clark is getting a schooling from Booster Gold's biggest fan before overhearing a conversation that Lois's father is in trouble, captured during a black op. Back on Booster's ship, they're being pulled into a time vortex, launching them into the same time as Superman. The Supes is making a discovery of his own that rocks him to the core, and I won't spoil that for you, but after he does, Booster shows up. Where the two heroes are cornered, and Superman seems to have forgotten that Krypton's red sun renders him powerless. Honestly, I've not been reading Action Comics, but I am a fan of Booster Gold. Something about that cocky, arrogant desperation is appealing to me. The art in the book is beautiful. The story is solidly executed. I'm interested to see where this story goes with the elements of Supes and Booster teaming up. Let's get into the True Believers Phoenix set. Let's talk about Jean Grey. So if you haven't been keeping up with the comic headlines, then you probably don't know. But Jean is being resurrected on December 27th as part of the 5-part Phoenix Resurrection storyline. With that being said, I'm sure some of you would benefit from having a refresher course on what led up to her fall. So let's talk about Phoenix Presents Cyclops and Marvel Girl. This takes place after the death of Xavier, when the team is split up, leading Jean and Scott to New York. After a rousing ordeal at the photo shoot for Jean's new modeling career, we're shown the re-energizing of 3 of Computo's automatons. The battle brings them to the caverns, where they come face to face with none other than Quasimodo. Okay, flip the page and you're going to be treated to Jean's origin story, which is really the point I'm trying to drive home here. The story before was cool and nostalgia and traditional storytelling, but the origin is what really sets us up for the upcoming resurrection. Let's look at Phoenix's bizarre adventures. So Sarah Gray, Jean's sister, is visiting her sibling's grave when she begins to recollect on an old adventure. Atuma had kidnapped the sisters and turned them into water breathers in an attempt to create a mutant hybrid race. However, Phoenix beat them and saved her sister, leaving Sarah as a water breather. So using her powers, Phoenix turned her back into a surface dweller, one cell at a time, nearly dying in the process. We're shown Sarah at the grave again, remembering the hero that her sister truly was. Phoenix Classic. This is a double story. The first surrounds discovering the essence of who Jean Grey is as the Phoenix. She cares about life and believes every life has its place. She doesn't understand her own powers, but they drive her to challenge herself. The second story is of Jean's desire to be alone, to not have to talk to anyone about what's happening to her. Of course, Wolverine has to attack her, forcing her to turn into the Phoenix. The encounter pushes her to discover how the Phoenix operates when it's distracted and when it's threatened. Phoenix Returns. Jean is struggling with the Phoenix Force. She's torn between two identities and discovering the extent of her powers. This whole book surrounds that premise and the conflicts she has been having within. It is a literally all-star cast and shows the different perspectives of what Jean Grey is becoming. Now, I know I've been vague about each of these Phoenix titles, but it's for a good reason. Each of these True Believer stories you can pick up for just $1 a piece. I think spoiling them for those of you that haven't been reading Jean Grey and the Phoenix would be a disservice. Listen, this is classic X-Men storytelling at its finest. It will give you a sense of how large-scale Jean Grey was to the Marvel family. Pick these up and dive into her world. Each of these books is available for purchase at Arkham Comics in Wilson and Rocky Mount. So for all of your toy needs and all of your comic needs, visit the #1 comic book store in Wilson and Rocky Mount, Arkham Comics. December 16th, Give the Gift of Art Part 3. Come out and get some of the great art pieces for your family and friends at the Wilson location from 12 to 5. Meet the artists, get them to personalize your prints and sign them. Also, this Thursday, December 14th, the wait is over. Star Wars The Last Jedi is coming out. Come hang out with all of us Arkham Comics people at the Wilson Movie Theater starting at 6:30. The 501st will be there, and Arkham will be giving away comics and posters. Lastly, if you like this content, please like and subscribe below. Heck, give it a share on Facebook. You know what they say, friends don't let friends share alone. That's it for this week's edition of Arkham Presents Aaron Reviews Comics. So until next time, let's get reading.